Welcome to Perfect Fit Closets. In this training video, we'll talk about inset drawers, inset doors, and inset shelves. Our standard door and drawers have a half overlay. In terms of our half overlay, they are 5/16 half overlay onto the gables as well as shelves. What we're going to be discussing is an inset. On the inset, we have our cabinet doors as well as our drawers flush with the actual gables on the left and the right. So again, we'll be talking about inset drawers, inset doors, and when to use inset shelves. I have a few different examples here on my screen. So first, let's discuss a regular cabinet door. To get a regular cabinet door, we've got our local browser. We'll click on our categories, parts, and we're going to click on our drawers. In our drawers, we have our standard MDW drawer boxes as well as our dovetails. We'll use our regular MDWs today. If I drag and drop a standard drawer box, and with a drawer front, I see my magnet, I'll let go of my mouse, and I'll drop in like so. And let's drop 3 of them as our example. So this is our regular half overlay. We're now going to grab a part, shelves, and a shelf fixed, and we'll put a shelf at the very top. We always want to have a fixed shelf at the very top and the very bottom. We can actually see when we zoom in that we actually have a half overlay of 5/16 of an inch on all the sides. So that's our half overlay. And what's really great about our half overlay is we can actually share the panel and we can actually put more drawers on each side or doors. Now, what if we wanted to make it more aesthetically pleasing, or if the client is adamant about it? Let's do insets. We're going to use this 24-inch deep module, and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison. We're going to go into our parts, and instead of our drawers here, at the very bottom, we see inset shelves, inset drawers, and inset doors. Let's grab an inset drawer. We'll double-click our inset drawers, and now we're going to use our MDW12. The difference is there's an I before the M, indicating that it's an inset. So 3/4 inch inset melamine drawer box, 12 inches. We're going to left click. We're going to drag and drop it inside our module. We'll let go of our mouse. I'll right click the illustration so I can see it a bit better. This dialog box appears, and it's asking you the position of the drawer. If I click on my drop down button, I have a selection of bottom, middle, top, and between. We'll go over those momentarily. We're going to position this drawer box at the very bottom. When I position it at the very bottom, it actually shrinks the actual drawer front, so it's less at the very bottom, but the same overall. Well, let's click on OK and take a look at our example. We're going to drop it into position, so the exact same position as our other half overlay, but we can see that the actual bottom of the drawer front has shrunk, so that now inside is the drawer box, and we can see that the drawer front has now shrunk inside in comparison to our half overlay. Let's do another one in the middle. So again, MDW12 with an inset, drag and drop it here. This is going to be in the middle. Right click the illustration, position of the drawer box. This is going to be in the middle. We'll click on OK. The drawer front has resized. Left click to drop it in. And there is my middle piece, inset. And last but not least, we'll drag another one. And this will be for the very top. This is going to be our last. Right click the illustration. Position of the drawer box is now going to be at the top. We'll left click on OK. Put into position. And there is my top. We are going to go back to our parts, shelves, and we can grab a regular fixed shelf to enclose it all. So you can see that is now inside. Let's take a look at our example in our render. And let's click textured with lines. And let's look at our side view here. We can see from our first example, we have a half overlay. So the drawer fronts are in front of the actual vertical panels. On the second example, we have an inset drawer, and now the actual drawers are inside and flush with the actual vertical panels. The next example is in between. So let's use this one here as an example. We'll grab a categories, parts. We'll grab an inset drawer. We'll grab a 12, drag and drop it. And this one, we're going to label it as in between. So we're only going to have one drawer box and a fixed shelf at the very bottom and a fixed shelf at the very top. Let's select between. We'll select OK. And now we only have one drawer. We'll go to our parts, shelves, shelf fixed, and position place. So this applies when you only have one drawer where you have a fixed shelf at the very top and the very bottom. So again, we have our half overlay. We've got our bottom inset drawer, middle inset drawer, and top inset drawer. And here we have our inset drawer in the middle. All right, so let's delete this and let's show you another example here. So if we wanted to add an inset door here, we certainly can, and we can add a regular door. So let's make a regular half overlay door on the right-hand side as a comparison. We'll click on our categories, parts, doors, and we'll grab a regular door, connect between fixed shelves. We'll drag and drop it. We see our magnet, and we'll let go of our mouse and drop it in. And here we go. We see our half overlay. On the left-hand side, we're now going to select our inset door. We'll go back to our categories, parts, and instead of doors, we'll click on inset doors right here. We'll double click, and we'll use the first one as an example. Inset door, connect between fixed shelves. We'll left click, we'll drag and drop it here. This will apply because I have two fixed shelves, so that one at the very top, the very bottom, and click. Again, let's take a look at a render. We'll use our textured with lines. And the same thing applies. You can see the differences. So we have half overlay on the right and inset on the left. This is great, fantastic, and aesthetically pleasing if you want it to be flush with the vertical panels. Now, if we go back to our categories parts, we have our inset shelves. Inset shelves would only apply if you're using inset doors. With the inset shelves, they're going to be less. They're not going to be as deep. If this is a 24-inch deep section, if we add an actual shelf adjustable insets, we can drag and drop it inside, and we can actually take a look at the properties. So let's right-click this shelf inset, go to our attributes, and instead of 24 inches deep, this shelf has now changed to 23 1/4 because it has to accommodate the inset door. If we grab a regular shelf, parts, shelves, and we'll get a shelf adjustable, we'll put it on the right-hand side, and this is going to be 24 inches deep in a 24-inch deep module because this is a regular half overlay cabinet door. And we can see the shelf depth at 24 inches. So those are the differences between when you would use an inset shelf, only if it's behind an inset door, and a regular shelf if it's on a regular door. So those are the differences between inset doors, drawers, and shelves. Now, I have a 14-inch deep module here, which is the closet standard. If I grab a category part and we'll grab an inset drawer, let's grab one inset drawer, drag and drop it in here to a 14-inch deep module. We'll put this position bottom. We will drag and drop it in here. So this is a 14-inch deep system, but if we actually take a look at this property, go to our attributes, it will not be 14 inches deep. Because it's roughly inset and now it is 3/4 inch less, it is now going to give me a lower or less deep soft close slides. Is now reverting to 12-inch. Our slides come in 12 inches, 14 inches, 16 inches, 18 inches, and 22 inches. So if I want to capture and make it a bigger drawer box, I have to grow the module depth. And this here, I have a 15-inch deep module. So if I do an inset in a 15-inch deep module, I should be able to get and capture a 14-inch deep slide. We'll left click on OK. We'll drop it in, and we can take a look at our properties. So again, this is a 15-inch deep module. We'll right click. We'll go to our attributes. Right click the illustration, and now I can see that it comes with a 14-inch deep slide. The main takeaway is if you're using an inset drawer, please keep in mind the module depth. You may have to increase the module depth to get the correct size of the drawer box that you want. Although 14-inch deep modules are the closet standard, if we're using insets, I personally like to have a deeper drawer box. So I want to make sure that I get a deeper module, accommodate for the inset drawer or door front, and make the module deeper. If you have any questions regarding inset doors, drawers, and inset shelves, please connect with us at support@perfectfitclosets.com. Or I apologize, support@perfectfitcanada.com. Thank you.